confirmation for that to come through. Recording has started. And if Clark can confirm that we're live streaming. Yep, that's us good to go, Chair. Recording and live streaming have started.
Thank you. So welcome everybody to the meeting of the Aberdeenshire Licensing Board. Please note that the board meeting is being live streamed and will be recorded and published online for public viewing after the meeting. Can members activate their cameras to enable you to join by video, and can all attendees mute their microphones when not speaking? Please do not come in during items unless I invite you to do so. So welcome everybody to the meeting of the somebody's got the live stream on with their sound on. Okay. Can I confirm that all members have been able to access the papers for today's meeting in advance?
Yes.
Yep.
If members wish to speak at any point, please raise your hand in the Teams meeting, or if you've dialed into the meeting, raise your hand by pressing 5, but I think you're all on Teams anyway. If any members lose connection or have technical issues during the meeting, please alert the Deputy Clerk by a separate Teams message if possible, and support today is available from David Angel on 01467 536 204. He's the ICT officer during the meeting if required. Can I please ask the Deputy Clerk to take the sederant?
Thank you, Chair. I have apologies from Ms Dawn Black. Mr Jeff Crowson?
Yeah.
Mrs Marion Eunson?
I'm present.
Mr Jeff Goodall?
Present.
Mr Trevor Mason?
Present.
Mr Richard Maynard?
Good morning, present.
Mrs Jenny Nichol?
Present.
Ms Mel Sullivan?
Here.
Mr Ian Taylor?
Present.
Thank you. Chair, I also have apologies from Sergeant Neil Grant of Police Scotland, and also with us are Keith Simpson, Lisa Gadini, Kevin MacDonald, Sarah Ward, the Licensing Standards Officer. We also have Barbara Alexander, a solicitor in our team observing, and the admin team in the background is Beatrice Hay, Clark Simpson, who's covering our live streaming today, and Harriet Tivendale, our paralegal. And we have apologies from Jenny Mearns, who's our usual live streamer. She's off this week. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to declaration of members' interests. If members just state if you have an interest to declare, or if you have, please clarify the item number, nature of the declaration, and whether or not you will leave the meeting. There are no indications. Thank you. We'll move on to item 2, which is the equalities resolution. Members are reminded that when making decisions on the reports, they have a legal duty under section 149 of the Equality Act 2010 to have due regard to the need to eliminate discrimination, harassment and victimisation, advance equality of opportunity between those who share a protected characteristic and persons who do not share it, and to foster good relations between those who share a protected characteristic and persons who do not share it. Do members agree?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
Thank you. And in item 3 on the agenda is the minutes of the meeting held on the 30th of April. These are being presented for approval as a correct record only. Can we agree they are a correct record?
Agreed.
Okay. And then item 4, we have our applications for premises or provisional premises licenses which are non-contentious, and I think the officer taking the report is Harriet Tivendale. You take us through them, please, Harriet.
Thank you, Chair. The first one is for North Street Premier Store. This is a provisional licence application. The premises are a convenience shop selling food, groceries, bakeries, cigarettes, soft drinks, etc. Alcohol will be sold for consumption off the premises only, and the applicant does not intend to operate according to seasonal demand. There will be the sale of groceries, stationery, newspapers, magazines, lottery tickets, paypoint, cigarettes, sweets, soft drinks, and ancillary items. The premises will open at 6 AM daily. Our LSO asked for standard local conditions to be applied, and there was an information-only statement from Building Standards to advise that there was an outstanding building warrant and completion certificate. This issue shall need to be resolved prior to confirming the provisional licence, but won't affect the provisional licence application. The certificate of confirmation has been supplied by the applicant and all conditions agreed. We'd be therefore looking to grant in full.
Okay, do the board wish to discuss the content of the report or ask any questions? No. So in terms of recommendation 1.2a, does the board have sufficient evidence to allow a determination to be made?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So moving on to the second recommendation, having determined that there is sufficient evidence, should the application be granted or refused?
Granted.
Granted.
Okay, so that one is granted. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The second one is for Chow Roma Restaurant and Chow Bella Takeaway in West Hill. This is a family-friendly restaurant and takeaway in adjacent connected units, providing sit-in authentic Italian meals, takeaway and home delivery. Alcohol will be sold for consumption both on and off the premises, and the premises will operate in line with our festive policy. Other activities provided in addition to the supply of alcohol include restaurant facilities, receptions including weddings, funerals, birthdays, retirements, etc., club or other group meetings, and recorded music. The premises will operate a takeaway as well, and this shares the same kitchen as the restaurant, but is accessed through a separate door which leads into a customer waiting area and counter. Orders may be taken online, over the phone, or using an app, and home deliveries to get food together with alcohol will also be available. Children and young persons will also be allowed access to the premises. There were standard local conditions recommended by our LSO. The certificate of confirmation has been supplied by the applicant and all conditions agreed. We'd be therefore looking to grant this one in full.
Okay, thank you, Harriet. Do the board wish to discuss the content?
No.
No. So in that case, in terms of the first recommendation, does the board have sufficient evidence to allow a determination to be made?
Yes.
Yes.
And in terms of the second recommendation, having determined that there is sufficient evidence, should the application be granted or refused?
Granted.
Granted.
Granted. Okay, thank you. So
Thank you. So
move
the
on to
last
the
one
next
on the
one.
report. Yep, the last one is the Captain's Galley in White Hills. This is a restaurant premises, including an outdoor seating area at Harbour Place in White Hills. Alcohol will be sold for consumption both on and off the premises, and the applicant will operate in line with our festive policy. Activities or services provided in addition to the sale of alcohol include restaurant facilities, bar meals, receptions including weddings, funerals, birthdays, retirements, etc., club or other group meetings, recorded music, live performances, films, indoor and outdoor sports, televised sport and outdoor drinking facilities. The restaurant will be open for soft drinks and refreshments and food from 9 AM, and the outdoor drinking facilities will be open for soft drinks and refreshments and food from this time as well. There will also be food-themed nights offered at the premises. Children and young persons will also be allowed entry. Environmental Health provided a representation to advise that the restaurant must be registered with the local authority within 28 days prior to opening. The applicant has submitted evidence of this registration, which was dated March 2025. Our LSO asked for standard local conditions to be applied and also requested that the operating plan and activity matrix were updated to remove activities of bar meals and indoor and outdoor sports, as there is no facilities for these to be provided at the premises. They also requested that no clarification that no more than 6 films are to be permitted to be shown at the premises, otherwise a separate annual cinema licence will have to be applied for. An amended operating plan and activity matrix were submitted by the applicant, and this has been confirmed by the LSO. All conditions have been agreed and their certificate of confirmation has been returned by the applicant. We'd be therefore looking to grant this one in full.
Okay, thank you. Do we wish to discuss the content of the report, members?
No.
No. So straight on then to the recommendations. Does the board have sufficient evidence to allow a determination to be made?
Yes.
Yes.
And in terms of the second recommendation, having determined that there is sufficient evidence, should the application be granted or refused?
Granted.
Granted. Okay, thank you, and thank you, Harriet. So moving on to item 5, which are applications for major variations of premises licence, non-contentious, and the officer, I think, is Deputy Clerk Fiona.
And that's an error, Chair. It should be Harriet again.
It's Harriet. Okay. Over to you again then, please, Harriet.
Thank you, Chair. The first one is for Ardennan House Hotel. This is a variation to increase on sales and off sales Monday to Thursday to commence at 12 noon. They are also amending their seasonal variations and updating Section 5 of the operating plan to outline the activities provided at the premises. The capacity of the premises is being increased and the layout plan is being varied to reflect their new conservation area. They've updated the postal address of the premises and email address of the premises manager. The certificate of confirmation has been supplied by the applicant. There were standard local conditions recommended by our Environmental Health Department, and our LSO requested that the main layout plan for the premises was updated to reflect all seating arrangements in the public areas. The applicant has accepted all conditions stated and provided an amended layout plan and has been approved by our LSO. We'll be therefore looking to grant this one in full.
Okay, thank you. And just in case anybody was confused there, it was conservatory area.
Sorry, as soon as I said it, I thought I know I
area.
said that wrong. Conservatory, I do apologise.
I thought it's the first time I've heard of that up there. So, so do members wish to discuss the content of the report? No. So we can move on then to the recommendations. In terms of the first recommendation, does the board have sufficient evidence to allow a determination to be made?
Yes.
Yes. And in terms of the second recommendation, having determined that there is sufficient evidence, should the application be granted or refused?
Granted.
Okay, granted. So we'll move on to the next one, please, Harriet.
Thank you, Chair. This is for Asian Kitchen in Inverurie. This is a variation to amend the core times when alcohol be sold for the consumption on the premises to be increased to Monday to Sunday, 12 noon until 11:30 at night. And they're also updating the children and young persons section of the operating plan to reflect this access. The certificate of confirmation has been received by the applicant, and standard local conditions recommended from both our LSO and Environmental Health Department. Our LSO also requested that the risk assessment was reviewed in line with specific premises requirements. The applicant has accepted all conditions stated and provided an updated risk assessment as confirmed by the LSO. We'd be therefore looking to grant in full.
Okay, thank you. Do members wish to discuss the report?
No.
No. So moving to the recommendations then, in terms of the first recommendation, does the board have sufficient evidence to allow a determination to be made?
Yes.
And in terms of the second recommendation, having determined that there is sufficient evidence, should the application be granted or refused?
Granted.
Granted. Okay, thank you. So moving on to the next one, number 3, please, Harriet.
Thank you. This is for Hilton Grand Vacations UK Limited. This is a variation to remove off sales from the operating plan, adding receptions, including weddings, funerals, birthdays, retirements, etc. as an activity to the operating plan, updating Section 5 of the operating plan to outline the activities that happen at the premises, as well with Section 5F to include additional activities. There is a removal of the home delivery service from the premises and updating and increasing the capacity of the premises. Children and young persons access have also been updated to reflect these changes, and the layout plan has been updated to include residential accommodation. They're also updating the applicant's name and address as well. Certificate of confirmation has been provided by the applicant, standard local conditions recommended by our LSO, and building standards had no adverse comment. However, they did provide an informational comment that there was outstanding completion certificates. But as this matter is enforceable under the building standard regulations, the applicant has been advised to contact the building services directly, and a failure to meet this may potentially lead to enforcement action being taken. The applicant has accepted all conditions stated and noted the requirement to contact building standards directly. We'd be therefore looking to grant in full.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or a need to discuss, members?
No.
Nope. So in terms of the first recommendation, does the board have sufficient evidence to allow determination to be made?
Yes.
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 Yes. And in terms of the second recommendation, having determined that there is sufficient evidence, should the application be granted or refused?
Granted.
Granting, thank you. So number 4, please, Harriet.
Thank you, Chair. This is for Fife Lodge Hotel in Banff. This is a variation to update Section 5 of the operating plan to include serviceable and non-serviceable accommodation. They're updating the capacity of the premises to include the accommodation and updating children and young persons' access. They varied the layout plan to include a bungalow in the hotel grounds and updated the premises manager's address and email address, and they've also updated the description of the premises. Certificate of confirmation has been supplied by the applicant. There was representation received by our LSO and recommended standard local conditions to be applied. The LSO also requested that the applicant update the premises licence holder's registered address and connected persons as a separate notification application as per the requirements of the Licensing Scotland Act. And they also requested that the operating plan in relation to children and young persons access was subdivided into individual sections, and the capacity section was updated to reflect consistency across all documentation. The applicant has accepted all conditions stated, provided an updated operating plan in line with the LSO's recommendations, and submitted a separate notification application. We'd be therefore looking to grant in full.
Okay, thank you. Do members wish to discuss the content of the report?
No.
No questions. So move on to, in terms of the recommendation 1.2a, does the board have sufficient evidence to allow a determination to be made?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the second recommendation 1.2b, having determined that there is sufficient evidence, should the application be granted or refused?
Granted.
Granted.
So that one's granted as well. Okay. So thank you, Harriet, because there is a lot of work that goes on in the background for these to bring them to the board non-contentious state. Thank you. Moving on then to item 6 on the agenda, which is the first of our hearings today. And this one is for a major variation of premises licence at Teeny and Stam's Bar in Turriff, probably better known as the TSB. And we do have the applicant and the objector in the meeting. So can I just ask the Deputy Clerk to confirm the procedure for part 1 of the hearing?
It's ignore the part 1 bit, Chair. That's a typing error. Yes, the procedure will be as set out in the appendix to the report, to hear from the applicant in respect of the variation application, to hear from the objector's representative in relation to the objection. The applicant will be given an opportunity to respond to the objector's submissions, and then members may question both parties. Concluding remarks, at which point no new evidence can be led in reverse order, so the objector first and the applicant lastly. Then the board can choose to debate the matter in public or may choose to adjourn. I will review the legal test and then the board moves to a decision. Once concluding remarks have been made, the parties are not entitled to speak again unless the board has a question to put to them. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want me to introduce the report before moving on to the procedure?
I'll just maybe confirm that the people are in the meeting. Can I confirm that Christine Hosey is present and here to represent Teeny and Stams Limited?
Christine Hosey is present.
Thank you. And are you satisfied that you've received all of the relevant information and feel able to participate in the determination of this matter?
Yes, I have received everything.
Okay, thank you. And can I also confirm that Ashley Benzie is present, and I believe you're representing the objector, James Allen.
Hello, yes, I'm Ashley Benzie and I'm representing James Allen.
Okay, thank you. And are you satisfied that you've received all the relevant information and feel able to participate in the determination of this matter?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So in line with the guidance that you've received in the public participant meeting protocol for licensing board hearings, please can you mute your microphone when not speaking if your phone permits this. Please do not speak unless I invite you to do so, and please do not interrupt the other speakers. If you do, you may be removed from the meeting. Once you've been asked to make concluding remarks, you're not entitled to speak again unless to answer a question from a board member. Once the board has made its decision, you will be asked to leave the meeting. If the board requires to adjourn to deliberate the application, the recording of the meeting will be paused and the board will retire to a separate online meeting room. Please wait in the main meeting room until the board members return and I resume the meeting. At that point, the recording of the meeting will be restarted. Okay, so over to you, Fiona. Or you've gone through the procedure, so we could just start. Yes.
Can I just summarise the application for you before we start?
Oh, yes,
please?
yeah.
So the applicant is seeking to extend their opening hours to 1 a.m. every night, to remove the seasonal hour restrictions so that the trading hours for on sales are 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. throughout the year. The applicant is also adding off sales between 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. throughout the week. An open-sided pergola area is being located in the beer garden to provide shelter from the rain and the sun, and the applicant is also providing a small wooden open-sided shelter as a smoking area. There is no change to the existing occupancy capacity included within the application. Officers are also seeking to amend one of the specific conditions contained in the existing licence, which relates to the requirement to install acoustic barriers at the premises. This work has now been completed, and the wording of the condition is recommended to be changed to ensure that the acoustic barriers remain in place and are repaired or replaced as necessary. An objection has been made in respect of the application by a neighbour, which is the reason for the hearing today, and Ms Benzie is here to represent the objector. Board members should note that certain parts of the objection have been redacted. This is due to the objection containing potentially defamatory statements with no evidence to support those statements. Both parties are reminded that all that is being considered today are the proposed variations sought under the application. The premises are already licensed and the board has no powers to revoke or restrict the licence out with the terms of the variation application before the board today. Thank you, Chair, and we can proceed to the procedure.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, can I invite Christine Hosey to speak to the application, including the objection lodged to the board. So Ms Hosey, please.
Yeah, the objection isn't really, I don't think, as the licence has been granted, and we have been open nearly 2 years now, and it's a really good going business. I mean, it's great for the whole of Turriff. I am always cooperative with all the government bodies. Our CCTV system is bang up to date and really good. So I can't see there being a problem to the change in running the business. I know the lad built it, has got his house, but it is on commercial land, which when he did planning for a start, he was turned down, but quite willing to put his house on commercial land. So just if you take into consideration, it is a business I'm running. And that's all I really need to say at the minute.
Okay, thank you, Ms Hosey. So now I'll go to the objector, Ashley Benzie, to speak to your objection, please.
Hello, so I'm Ashley Benzie. I'm representing my father, James Allen, who I'm going to refer to just as Dad for clarity throughout what I've got to say. We feel that no variation should be granted to the existing hours at the moment, aware that the business has been running now for 2 years, but we feel that how can further variation be granted when existing conditions are not upheld? I'm going to refer to sections 3.8 and 3.9 in the citation letter with the objections and representations and existing conditions. One being noise, states that must be inaudible at site boundary between 11 and 1. However, bottles are heard crashing in for disposal at 11:30 p.m, one being the disturbance of outside. Fire doors are seen to be wedged open. I know it was stated at the start that many items had been thrown out because there was no evidence, when Dad had been clearly told that he was not allowed to show to video without consent. So he doesn't have evidence, unfortunately. Also, he does, but he's not allowed to share it. Vulnerability is the next item. Huge amount of vulnerability for the safety. Dad is in fear for safety due to revellers being drunk and intoxicated on on drugs. CCTV, yes, Christine stated there that up-to-date CCTV. However, when CCTV video footage of my dad is recorded and shared without his consent, that is obviously showing defamation of character, breaching Dad's privacy. It is harassment, victimisation, intimidation and bullying to my father. We were made aware that Christine Hosey shared this recording of my dad without his consent to 43 members of the Turriff Business Association that we were made aware of by many people on that association on the 5th of April 2025.
Chair, can I interrupt Ms Benzie there? It's Fiona Stewart, the Deputy Clerk. This information that you're putting before the board does not form part of your father's objection and therefore cannot be taken into account by the board today. You must restrict your submission to the content of the information that is within the letter of objection. Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, but I object to that because the 3.8 and 3.9 on existing conditions claim CCTV is on that.
I'm sorry, you haven't referred to CCTV being shared within your objection. Therefore, you cannot talk to that. It is not competent. You've not raised it in your objection. Therefore, you cannot speak to that matter. And I must ask you to confine your submission to the information that is provided within the letter of objection. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Carry on, Mrs Benzie.
Okay, apologies. Beer garden and outside drinking area. We believe that no revellers should be using that apart from smoking after 10 p.m. However, unless it is for smoking. However, noise is heard many nights well after that time. Protecting and improving public health, I think I did touch on that, but absolutely clearly my dad's mental, psychological, physical health is hugely impacted, as is the value of his home and the safety of his grandchildren. Trying to get to Dad's property when there is revellers under the influence of drink and drugs from people out spilling onto the lane. There is a bit in the application that people are not allowed to use that side entrance, but people do and are clearly seen. The other part is about chemical spill. Yes, Christine and Mark keep the premises clean and are hosing out their backyard, which Christine has responded to in the past. However, the lane is often flooded and not allowing a clear passage to Dad's home. Large wheelie bins are left on the pavement, which is restricting view. So how that was passed, we have no idea when people can't see right or left, whether it be pedestrians on the pavement or people on the road seeing people coming. I have another part. the other part that I was going to mention, but I think you'll object, is that now my dad's entry and exit to his property is now being restricted due to Mark parking his large Mercedes Sprinter at his entrance. My
Again, I have
having
to
an
object.
Sorry,
thought
yeah,
you
that's
would.
not in your objection. Sorry.
This only came to light about 2 weeks ago. It started, so it couldn't have
Okay.
been in my objection. All right. Okay. I think that is all I had to say. But we fully object. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So now I'll go to Mrs. Hosey, and this is your opportunity to respond to the submissions made by the objector. So do you have anything you wish to add, having heard the objector?
Well, see, I don't agree with a lot of the council bins. I have to leave them at the end of the road. That is where they get picked up, which Brown, the butchers, and everybody else leave them in exactly the same place, which they have done for years. I mean, that's where they go past. We clean the place out. I don't know how they get flooding. It's all drains away. That's how the video, Jim washes his car on the exact same lane, because we had to go to planning for the pergola as well, which the pergola is all passed and signed off. So we have done everything legally, and I can argue till I'm blue in the face, but no one uses the side door. I am there 24/7 and watch everything going on, and the Sarah Ward has been in past and made sure, because there was like one objection, don't know if that was Jim as well, but was happy. And I've had Billy Mayer from Environmental Health happy with the noise. He's been as well, and they've only once both been to check in the 2 years of running. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So it's now over to board members to ask questions of both parties. Have you any questions, board members? Mr. Menard, please.
Yes, this is a question for the applicant. Why do you wish to extend the hours of business? Can you give us a reason for that, please?
Yes, because we've been so busy, we have got letting rooms, 4 rooms upstairs, which the planning, which we've been trying to get done. We're hoping to get them done in the next finished 2 months. So if I've got people staying, like, it's not fair on them to say, okay, 11 o'clock finish, because it could be on holiday or whatever. So I'm thinking it's better keeping it in-house and just letting them drink, and we're actually there till 1 in the morning. So it's kind of for my own benefit, because I'll get them to drink in my own pub, because I know the Crown and the Oak are both licensed to 1 in the morning. So if they're staying actually with me, I'm going to have to be there till 1-ish anyway. So it's going to be better for myself.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And these would be fairly regular hours in terms of our policy anyway, 1 a.m. So
yes, there's no different changes, yeah.
Mr. Goodall, please.
Thank you. It's a question to the objector. A clear statement was made on drunkenness and in particular drug use. Is there any evidence that you have to prove that, or are there any police records that show that you're aware of?
My dad has got photo evidence of people taking drugs on his lane on top of Christine's bins. So he has got evidence of that, but he's not allowed to share that. There is police, I believe, also I have been told that police have said there's no problems, but I know there was a drug raid, and that was a member of Christine's staff that told me. And I also know that on the 24th of May, 2025, I think am I allowed to name the person?
No, best not.
No.
No.
Okay. I know someone who was spiked. We know who spiked them. And that happened on the 24th of May, 2025, which the police are aware of. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Convener wishes to come in. Fiona?
Just to say that Police Scotland have made no adverse comments or objections to the application and have not placed any of the alleged incidents referred to by the objector before the board today. There's nothing from Police Scotland.
Okay, thank you. I think we noted that, members. Any further questions? I was actually going to ask the applicant, but she did speak about it herself just now, so maybe not necessary, but it was just to clarify that entry to the rear outdoor area is only by the front door and going through the premises.
Yes, that's correct, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Disabled access is through the side.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Maynard, please.
Just another question to the applicant. The objectors have complained about the fire doors being jammed open and left open. Is that a common practice?
No, there's two doors, so there's always one closed at a time. So we always find it better the actual inner door closed, but I mean, I could leave it open and then close the actual out one, but it's just, because it's a fire door, it locks automatically every time. So it's like people get stuck in the beer garden.
I would have thought that fire doors are meant to be kept closed at all times.
Yeah, it like opens. It kind of like if you're locked in the building, this door opens. It never locks from the inside. It opens, but it locks from the outside. You can't get back in the building because it's a fire door. It's not actually got a key lock. It's the way it's made because it's a fire door.
Thank you.
Okay. So just
the inner door is always locked. So there's two doors and they're locked. It's always closed.
Okay. Presumably you do have a fire safety inspection that'll review your arrangements.
Fire alarm, and we're signed up to the. Like anything happens, I'll get a call. Yeah, our fire alarm's all working and great.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Crowson, please.
Just a small point in the fire door. I'm wondering if there is a slight difference in the use between a fire exit door and a fire door. A fire door being the purpose of stopping fire from spreading, and a fire exit door being a means of escaping quickly, which if it's opened, means you would be able to get out of it anyway.
Going to bring in the deputy.
A fire door is a fire door as well. It's a fire door. It's got a 60-minute seal around it, and the other one is the escape door.
Can I come in, please?
Yes.
Yeah. Fire safety matters are enforceable by the fire service, and the Licensing Act is clear. If matters are enforceable under other legislation, you can't condition the licence to get around that enforcement. So although quite rightly the objector and the applicant have spoken about the fire door, any use or misuse of the fire door is enforceable by the fire service. There would be nothing that you would be able to do in relation to it being open or closed today. You could consider it though in relation to potential noise nuisance in relation to that. But what I would say about noise nuisance as well is that's enforceable by environmental health. So and there's no information about noise complaints from environmental health today. So regarding the fire safety aspect and whether that door is open or shut, that's out with the board's remit, but it has potential weight in relation to alleged noise nuisance for consideration by the board today. I just don't want you to go further down that line into something that is not a matter that the board can do anything about.
Okay, thank you for the advice, Fiona. Any more questions from anybody for either the applicant or the objector? Mr. Taylor, please.
Yes, thanks, convener. Question for the objector. The comment on the unruly behaviour on the lane. Could it be happening from others not associated with Deems, Deanie and Stams?
I obviously can't say 100%, but there is a lot of people who well, I don't know if it's overspill, sorry, I shouldn't claim that. A lot of people do accumulate outside the front of the pub, and yes, I myself have seen these people come from the front of the pub, round the corner, and are urinating on the lane, leaving bottles, kicking things around. Dad will have to move broken glass in the morning before he can move his car out, make the point that whether he can get his car out or not. So yes, I would say that yes, they are coming from the pub. Thank you, Ian.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mason, please.
Yeah, well, just a quick one for the applicant. There was a noise screen around the around the backyard. Is that still up and working?
Yes, yes, it's all signed off and correct. Yes.
Yes. Oh, that's good. I just want to confirm that. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So just a question then, Mrs. Benzie. The issues in the lane with noise, you've said people urinating, bottles, people congregating. Have these issues been raised with environmental health at all?
I believe so, but I can't say that 100% with Dad not being here.
Okay.
Can I also just, what was my point I was going to say? I just wanted to respond to something that Christine had mentioned about the how my dad washes his car in the same place as where, and she couldn't understand the flooding. My dad washes his car at the entrance to his property where there is a drain. So his water is washed away. The water that is coming from her beer garden onto the lane, there's no drainage at that site. So there is always going to be flooding. The other part that I'm going to bring up, that the last person that just spoke was...
At this point, you're just here to answer questions. You'll get a chance to sum up. Okay, right. Thank you. Mr. Menard, please.
Yeah, just a question for the objector. How many times have you contacted, or have the police been contacted regarding the disturbances outside the premises? Yeah, and how do you do it on a regular basis, or is it just ad hoc?
I can't answer that 100% either, because I'm, as I say, speaking on behalf of my dad. I believe it is ad hoc. Also, his correspondence is more with his solicitor that he's been and taken his advice from.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? No, so in that case, I'll go to concluding remarks. So going first to Mrs. Benzie, do you wish to say anything in closing? But please note you can't add anything new at this stage, Mrs. Benzie.
Can I respond to the remark about the noise?
You can do, because that was a question, yes.
Yeah, so there was something about somebody had been to check the noise. No one at any point has entered my dad's house to listen to hear if noise is audible. Noise is 100% audible when that door is open. Clearly, when there's singers in TSB, Dad can hear the singers word for word, as in conversations with people in the beer garden, from his front kitchen window, which is only 10 metres is a beer garden from his front door. He will hear word for word what is said inside his house with windows closed. I think that's all that I needed to respond to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now I'll go to Mrs. Hosey. Do you wish to say anything in closing? But again, please don't add any new evidence at this stage.
No, I think we run it, and the only one I disagree with is Mrs. Benzie. But he did build his house on commercial land, unfortunately, and if he can get someone in and get it done properly, but at this point it's not been proven that it's too loud or whatever, and the back door is always closed by the 10 o'clock. because I wouldn't like nobody else, because I do think about the public and roundabout. And no, I think we do our job pretty well. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Hosey. Now, board members, do you require any legal advice from the clerk at this point? Ms. Sullivan, please.
Yes, please. Is this when we go into like private session so we can ask?
Well, you can ask for legal advice just now. You don't have to go into private session. That's another consideration.
Okay, I'll wait for that then.
Okay. Can the Deputy Clerk please outline the terms of the legal test? There's no preliminary matter here, but that's just if people do want to go into private session. Do you wish to retire to deliberate?
Yes, please.
I think it'd be a good idea. Thank you.
Okay, yes. All members agree?
Yeah.
I think I would agree to that as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
Fiona.
I'll just confirm when the recording has stopped and the live stream has stopped.